Taking a peek at the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia K4. The K4 technically has two different versions of the cluster screens available. You're going to find this setup in the majority of trim levels of the ride. The screen itself is the same size, but there's just different flexibilities and capabilities inside of the higher trims, specifically the GT line. But in this video, we're going to dive in and I'm going to show you everything that you need to know about the steering wheel and the cluster. So first thing is that the steering wheel inside the ride might be heated. On the driver's side door, there's a button there that you can push for two individual levels for the heated steering wheel, and it's heated all the way around. It feels good. It's also going to be a manual adjust for the steering wheel. So just down by where your left knee would sit, there's a release there to go in, out, up and down to find that perfect position for you. Once you find it, click it in order to lock it back into place. Stick along the left-hand side is going to be your blinkers. Inside of that higher trim, when you hit the turn stalk, you'd also have your blind spot view monitor there, but not available in this trim, but you've got your blinkers. From there, a series of selectable light modes. You're going to want to be in auto mode the majority of the time, and the big benefit is that if you push away, it brings you into an auto headlamp mode. So what that means is that if the vehicle recognizes the high beams are needed, it's going to turn them on automatically. If somebody's oncoming, it's going to turn them off, and then right back on again when they're necessary. It's pretty neat. You could then push away in order to turn that feature off, but you could always flash your high beams out if you want to. If you want to permanently lock your high beams out, going to go to that top light mode instead. You can push away to turn your high beams on, pull towards you in order to turn them off. But like I said, you're going to be in that auto mode the majority of the time. Along the right side, you've got your blinkers. So one down is just to get rid of any sort of liquid that might be on the windshield. So a one-time mist. Up brings you into your intermittent mode, and there are a series of other speed modes. And then in the intermittent mode, you could then adjust using the little rocker here in order to adjust how fast or slow the rain is hitting your windshield. You're then going to pull towards you in order to get that wiper fluid going. Straightforward. And there are so many different buttons. The ones along the right-hand side here, so there's a voice command prompt, but that's going to be for your Siri or for your Google Assistant. So you need to be connected through Android Auto or Apple CarPlay or have your phone connected for that to work. You can answer or hang up on a phone call. There's a volume rocker here. You can mute out as well by pushing in. There are two custom buttons as well, and you can set that up through the infotainment system. So through your setup, there's the option of going to your buttons. So the mode button here, what's that going to do? It's typically going to adjust out between all of your sources that you'd prefer. So AM, FM, Sirius XM, etc. So as you move between, you can see there it's moving between all of our available sources. This button is another custom button that you can do a few things. So I've got it programmed right now to turn the display off. It's pretty neat, but if you want a full walkthrough on the infotainment system, you'll find it down in the description of this video. So you've got two custom buttons here, and then you've got this one, which is going to let you change between all of your available songs or presets. So you can move between different options there if you'd like to. You could also do a press and hold if you wanted it to act as a seek button instead. Pretty useful. Buttons along the left-hand side, there are a ton of different options. So you've got the flexibility of toggling on your cruise control, and it's strictly going to be a smart cruise or adaptive cruise control system. So it's your set it and forget it cruise. So let's say if you set it at 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, if the car in front of you slows down, yours will also slow down. They change lanes, pick up speed, you change lanes, it's going to pick you back up to your previously set speed. But there's no option for traditional cruise control. It's strictly going to be adaptive or the smart cruise inside of the K4. But you can toggle it on this way. I'm stopped, so it's not going to let me do it. But you've got to be going at least 30 kilometers an hour. From there, so it sets it at your current speed. You could then increase or decrease 1 kilometer, 1 mile per hour using the switch. You can push and hold up in order to go up 10 kilometers an hour or 5 miles per hour instead, or drop down 10 or 5 respectively. You can push in the middle to pause your speed. You can hit the brake to pause your speed, and then you can push again to resume your previously set speed. Then there's also a distance indicator, so it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I want you to think of that one like almost like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi type of a rule for how close or far you are away. I personally am normally on level 1 all the time, but you can be on level 1 residential streets, level 2 or 3 on highways or interstates, depending on your own preference. There's this one, which is a lane keep or a lane follow assist. The car's not self-driving, But when you've got the smart cruise control system turned on with this one as well, it's really cool. So it's going to keep you nice and balanced in your lane as you go. Even if you keep your hands off the steering wheel for a few seconds, it's going to keep you nice and balanced as long as those lane markings are recognized. It's a really, really useful setting. But if you want to see the smart cruise control system in person, like how it's actually used, check down in the description of this video for a little walkthrough and a live demonstration. There's this little guy, which is your drive mode selector. So you've got either your normal or sport mode instead. They're pretty useful, but sport mode, what that's going to do is essentially change out your shift points. But one cool thing is that in the ride, you've also got a hand shifter where you can adjust out to different gears. So you drop down to drive, shoot across one in order to be able to get to that setting. It's pretty useful. It works off of the same principles as paddle shifters. So if you want to walk through on how that's done, check in the description of this video. And then there are so many different things that you need to know about that little cluster screen. So the cluster is slightly customizable. So you can see there are some different modes that are available. But inside of the infotainment system, you've also got the flexibility of adjusting out the cluster. So if you wanted to, you could adjust out your brightness. The brightness can also be adjusted. There's a switch down by your left knee to do it. And then you can also lock things out. So let's say if you love the normal mode, but you really like the look of the sport mode, you can adjust that out instead. It's kind of neat. Or you can link it to the drive mode. So whatever drive mode you're in, that's going to lock it out to that style. Now, inside of the cluster, you've got your fuel gauge along the very bottom. There's a fuel gauge along the very top, so how many kilometers or miles till empty, the gear that you're currently in, your speedometer. So you've got your speedometer this way, and then as you start to speed up, you'll notice that this gauge starts to increase for your speed. The tachometer is also there, and same idea. As you go to speed up, you put your foot down, you can see that gauge starting to go up as well. It's actually kind of cool. And then you've also got your temperature along the very bottom, outside, so your engine temperature, outside temperature with your odometer, and then you've got this little pages button in the very middle. So we could hit that little pages icon in order to move between a few different options. So you can see here 3 unique pages. And then this one is your different fuel economy options or your fuel options. You've got current trip, since refueling, and then since last reset. So I want you to think of current trip from the last ignition cycle. So from the last time that you turn the vehicle on, that's what this one's going to be for. From there, you've also got your since refueling. So since you last filled up, what fuel economy have you gotten? And then your since last reset. So you can manually reset this one. Anything here, you can see there, it's got an OK button. All you're going to do is push and hold OK. And that's going to recenter you out there instead, so bring you back to 0. So that's available. You can hit the pages icon there again to get to some settings. So you hit the OK button there, and that's going to bring you into a boatload of different settings inside of the infotainment system. So things like driver convenience settings, there are different things for speed warnings and assists and things like that. But like I said, full walkthrough down in the description of this video. And then the last one is going to be your tire pressure. So as you start to drive, you're going to notice that you'll see your available tire pressure there as well. And then inside of the infotainment system, that's one other thing that I'll show you here, is that you've got the flexibility of changing out your measurement units. So you're going to go to General, and then if you go to your units, you can change it out. So do you want to be in either kilometers or miles? Do you want to be in Celsius or Fahrenheit? And then if you're in either or, you can change out. So then if we go to our fuel economy, do you want to be kilometers per liter, liters per 100, etc.? In miles, do you want to be in miles per gallon for US or UK? And then you can also change out your tire pressure. So as you start to drive, do you want to be in either PSI, kPa, or bar instead? Then you'd have some additional options available inside of some of the higher trims of the K4. So I know that that is a lot of information, but that's everything that you need to know about the steering wheel as well as the cluster screen inside of the Kia K4.